Have you ever thought about what would happen if a country treated its biggest natural resource not just as something to sell, but as a real tool to build global power? Well, that's exactly what we're diving into today. We're looking at a pretty bold strategy out of South Africa to do just that with its gold. It's basically a blueprint for sovereignty, and it's built on 12 key pillars.
You know, for the longest time, the story of gold has been super simple, right? You dig it up, you sell it off, end of story. But what if there's a totally different way to look at it? This new strategy, it completely challenges that old-school commodity view. It reframes gold not as just a product to get rid of, but as a sovereign instrument, a tool you can actively use to build up your national power. It's a huge shift in thinking, really.
And this quote, man, it just gets right to the heart of the whole thing. Gold is not just a precious metal. It's legacy, diplomacy, and reserve power. I mean, that one sentence tells you everything you need to know. This isn't just about money or economics. We're talking about a nation's entire story, its influence on the world stage, and the very foundation of its financial stability.
Okay, so what in the world is a sovereign instrument? Because that's the core idea here. Basically, it's this deliberate, really structured process of taking a raw asset, gold in this case, and building a whole system of institutions around it. And the goal? It's to turn that hunk of metal into this multi-purpose tool, something you can use for cultural influence, for monetary strength, and for real diplomatic leverage.
So this whole grand strategy is built on a foundation of 12 interconnected pillars. You can almost think of it like a detailed blueprint. Each pillar is a critical piece of the puzzle, and they're all designed to work together to get to that ultimate goal. So let's start breaking them down, shall we?
All right, part 1, forging the foundation, the hard infrastructure for gold. Look, before you can build any kind of power, you have to build the literal hard infrastructure. So these first pillars, they're all about creating the physical systems and the regulations you need to actually control the gold itself.
We're actually going to start with Pillar 4, which is all about creating a complete industrial cluster. The idea is to control the entire value chain. It kicks off with refining the raw ore, right? Then you're minting it into coins and bars. From there, it gets transformed into high-value stuff like jewelry and tech components. And finally, the country itself manages the export logistics. By controlling every single step, all that value, it stays right there, inside the country.
But, you know, if you want to control the value chain, you have to be able to control the physical metal, and that's where Pillar 7 comes in. This is all about the nuts and bolts, the logistics. We're talking highly secure transport, state-of-the-art vault systems, and even dedicated export corridors. This makes sure that the gold is always safe, and its movement is strategic, not just reactive.
Now, to oversee this whole massive operation, you need a central brain, a command center. That's Pillar 1, the commodity desk. Think of it exactly like that. This is the single body that sets all the rules for everything: pricing, export regulations, even the protocols for how gold is used in the national reserves. It brings unified, centralized control to the entire system.
And look, in this day and age, a foundation isn't really solid unless it has strong ethical standards, right? Pillar 9 tackles this head-on. It's all about sustainable and responsible practices. We're talking everything from ethical mining standards to helping out artisanal mines and using green refining tech. This is what builds legitimacy and makes the whole thing viable for the long haul.
A modern approach also means you have to be proactive, not just reactive. And that is the whole goal of Pillar 10. It's about using data and predictive modeling to get ahead of the curve, to forecast global demand for bullion, to anticipate what's next in cultural trends, and to figure out how to best leverage those gold reserves. It's all about making smart, data-driven decisions instead of just guessing.
Okay, moving on to part 2, building the human ecosystem. People, skills, and innovation. So we've got the hard infrastructure in place. Now the focus shifts to the human element. This next set of pillars is all about creating an entire ecosystem of skilled people who can bring this whole system to life.
I mean, think about it. You can have the best facilities in the entire world, but they're pretty much useless without skilled people to run them. That's why Pillar 6 is so important. It's about investing in human capital through these really specialized trade schools. This creates a steady pipeline of experts in, well, everything, from the ancient art of goldsmithing to the very modern science of reserve management.
And this isn't just about massive, state-run operations. A truly healthy system needs that spark, that dynamism and innovation. That's what Pillar 5 is for. It focuses on fostering this thriving ecosystem of small and medium-sized businesses. You know, the jewelry designers, the authenticators, the marketers.
the people who actually bring these cultural products to the rest of the world.
And of course, to stay ahead of the game, you absolutely have to innovate. Pillar 3 is about establishing a national research hub. This is the place where new gold-based technologies are invented, where cutting-edge authentication systems are developed to fight fraud, and where they create new methods to preserve that priceless cultural heritage that's tied to gold.
What's really fascinating is that this strategy even stretches into the physical landscape of the nation itself. Pillar 11 is all about urban renewal, but centered around gold. Just imagine it, dedicated mint districts, world-class gold museums, and bustling jewelry hubs that actually become destinations for tourists. It makes gold a visible, celebrated part of the national identity for everyone to see.
And that brings us to part 3, the apex of influence, converting gold into strategic power. Okay, so we've built the physical foundation. We've built the human ecosystem. Now we get to the very top of the pyramid. This is where all those pieces come together and get converted into real, tangible, sovereign power.
So what are the big strategic outcomes? What's the ultimate payoff for this entire system? Well, there are 3 big ones. First, a powerful sovereign fund that captures all the value being generated. Second, real diplomatic leverage that you can use to strengthen partnerships with, say, BRICS or other African nations. And finally, the big one, positioning the nation as the undeniable gold reserve anchor for the entire continent. That's the endgame.
So the key takeaway here, the most important thing to remember, is that these 12 pillars are not just some checklist you can tick off. No way. They are a deeply interconnected system. Every single gear turns another one, and together they create this powerful engine that's designed to do one thing: transform a simple metal into a comprehensive national strategy.
It's an incredibly ambitious vision, for sure, and it leaves us with a pretty provocative question to chew on. In our complex modern world, can a single metal, if it's managed this strategically, truly become the key to unlocking wealth for an entire continent and totally reshaping global power dynamics? It's a big question.
The vision ends with this powerful statement. It suggests that by institutionalizing its greatest asset, South Africa doesn't just hold gold anymore, it holds, quote, the key to continental wealth and cultural identity. A really bold claim and a fascinating idea about what the future of power might look like.